Tyrande, wait!
I think we're too late.
Yet, the Knight's power wanes.
Tyrande, we tried to tell you. Night Warrior is looking at some pretty heavy nerfs in 9.1.
Yeah, it's not really viable without a Covenant swap.
I think she's still Night Fae.
Oh, Tyrande, did you not read the patch notes?
Mother Moon, do not forsake me.
To be honest, Night Warrior is more of a 9.0 system anyway. Really, you're getting your power from domination shards now.
I bet she didn't even upgrade her legendary.
Did you upgrade your legendary, Tyrande?
I bet she didn't.
Okay, this is fine, but yeah, you're going to need to go run some Torghast, okay, Tyrande? Tyrande? Can you hear me?
End this!
Knowledge is power.
Hello Internet, Taliesin here, and welcome to another episode of the Weekly Reset, Taliesin and Evitel's wondrous wisdom show, in a week where 9.1 is actually here though, for reals. There's actually new content. It's called Chains of Domination. We've had a week to play it. There's more coming, like some very important, a lot more coming in like a few hours time, and we're going to talk about that, how the launch went, the community reaction, and my own experience and concerns. And yes, that's a lot to talk about, isn't it? Frankly, I'm not a good enough writer to be able to structure all of that into any kind of coherent episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an old friend that we like to trot out on occasions like this, the T&E Wondrous Wisdom Wheel of news, the Wheel of News. Chock full of this week's topics in a completely random order. Let's give it a spin and see where it lands. Who knows? Maybe we'll win some fabulous prizes. The launch! That's lucky, because what better place to start talking about 9.1 than the launch of patch 9.1? And don't worry, this won't take long, because to be honest, the days where you might expect massive delays and maintenance on patch day, or indeed a new patch being a buggy mess for days after release, have long ago been consigned to distant memory. You can generally expect any launch to be smooth and relatively painless, allowing you, the paying customer, to enjoy the new content hassle-free and as Ian intended. Unless you play on NA servers, obviously, in which case it sucks to be you. And also, thanks for beta testing the patch for the rest of us. Yes, after waiting on over 7 hours of maintenance to get Chains of Domination ready, NA players did finally get to start their Corthia adventures and were welcomed with a bug where the loot in their Great Vault was a lower item level than it should have been, and which apparently, if you did open your vault and get the wrong loot, was irreversible, to the extent that Blizz put out a blue advising people to, guys, please don't do that. Maybe just don't open your vault right now, okay? Promise? Until another restart on NA Realms eventually fixed the problem. But honestly, what's a bit of hard-earned loot between friends? As launch day pain goes, this doesn't even make the top 10, and the news barely even registered on the forums, where people were far too interested in getting their teeth into the new content. Some fussing over what is essentially, no, it was a shit show, obviously. Are you fishing kidding me? This is how you want to launch the patch that saves WoW. Congratulations, you found a way to make the vault even worse. Imagine waiting 7 hours for a shit sandwich. This has got to be the worst patch ever, and it hasn't even started yet. And you thought the title of this video was clickbait. You should know better. But anyway, it's worth noting that in the EU, we woke up on Wednesday, logged in, and everything was fine. So, you know, sorry about that, NA. Anyway, let's get this news wheel spinning to some proper news, shall we? Ah yes, the intro scenario to the patch, our first new Shadowlands gameplay in 2021, kicking off with the Battle of Ardenweald scenario and accompanying cinematic. Now, we've done an entire deep dive cinematic analysis video for this already, of course, just like we will do for the Sanctum of Domination raid ending cinematic, which will be all over the internet in like a few hours. But basically, Tyrande is about to totally own Sylvanas and get her revenge for real though, but then realise that Elune has gone to play Final Fantasy XIV and forsaken her. So, the big climactic moment of revenge for Tyrande turns out not to be. We go in depth about the reasons in our vid, but the cinematic was obviously of the highest order, as always, no complaints about that. Or the intro scenario, which was exciting and frenetic and chock full of in-game cutscenes with my character looking awesome and hanging out with Jaina, and you know I love hanging out with Jaina. And okay, yeah, so after all the effort that we went to fighting the Jailer's invading forces, maybe the Winter Queen could have come up with a slightly better hiding place for her sigil than the heart of the forest, i.e. literally the first place anyone anyone would look. I hate to say it, Winter Queen, but you did kind of let the side down there. I'm not saying everything's your fault, because chucking blame around achieves nothing, but it is definitely all your fault. Anyway, the forums completely agreed with me, as you can imagine, because there is nothing they like more than to know it was a shit show, obviously. I can't decide who Blizz hate more, the players or the lore. Oh, what a surprise. You ruined the story and the characters with your laughable, unbelievable contrivances. Well, I liked it. And I don't know if I mentioned, but the raid ending cinematic will be out there this week, and that is also very exciting. But that wasn't even the end of the opening scenario though, because there was the small matter of opening new area Korthia with Venari, enlisting Odin and the Valkyr to dispose of the Eye of the Jailer, and of course, to enable mounting in the Moor, and you know what that means. It means the return of the perfect, beautiful, roly-poly best hippo boy in WoW, Maurice. Nature is healing. And you know, maybe it's just because we have been starved of WoW content this year, but it felt great to be questing and doing story missions again. Any time spent with Venari is time well spent, and any time spent with Odin is fine too. Beating back the Eye of the Jailer was a cool set piece. I liked it. And one of the things I especially like about it is that I don't have to repeat it all on my alts, because I love story quests, but they start to lose their shine around the 10th time around. So 9.1's intro skip, where you skip everything up until the quest Corthia awaits, where your base is all set up, apart from the artifact guy in the cave, and you're ready to dive in, and that's really great. That is exactly the kind of skip we want, so we can enjoy long and involved story quests on our mains without it becoming a joyless chore through multiple enforced playthroughs. Great work, that's the end of that. Let's spin the wheel. Ah, yeah, good point, Wheel. It's not quite the end of that, because I did in fact forget to mention about that skip, that great skip, which is great. If you do the skip on an alt, then obviously you miss quite a lot of quests, but you also miss quite a lot of rewards, including the weapon from the Battle of Ardenweald, which item level wise will be a downgrade to almost everyone, but which is a unique recolor, so collectors are going to want it, and one of your introductory quests into Korthia, In Need of Assistance, which awards a Death's Advance war chest, a chunk of anima, and Stygian Embers. All in all, you're also going to miss out on around 1,000 Death's Advance rep, 500 rep for each Covenant, over 1,400 anima, and 1,000 Valajar rep. It's very important to someone, I'm sure. Not a huge deal, but not nothing. I mean, you did get to skip the quests, so it's kind of fair. There's a trade-off. No, it was a shit show, obviously. This is BS. We get punished for having alts now? This is very annoying. Thanks, Blizz, for screwing us yet again. Well, of course you'd screw us on rewards. Can't expect you to care about players or fun. One thing I totally will say is that maybe it would be nice to include, as part of the option to skip, some mention of the rewards that you'll be missing in doing so. That seems like a good idea. But honestly, personally, you could triple those rewards and I'd still be skipping that intro all day long on every ult I have, no joke. And that is no reflection on those story quests. Story questing should not be designed with, but will this be fun on alts in mind? And the only way to truly guarantee that is to make sure that alts can always skip it, in my opinion. I like that it's a choice though, to be fair, and it's not the only alt-friendly part of 9.1 either, because don't forget, I'm sure you haven't, that as promised, you can now send Soul Ash to your alts, just as long as you have some Soul Ash and an alt to send it to, and you have Renown level 44, which won't be until next week. Huh. Bit of a weird choice in my opinion, that, but weird is all it is. It's hardly a big deal. I mean, it was a shit show, obviously. God, if you can't tell by now, Blizzard hates the people that play their game. Quit the game while you can. It's actually insane how much effort Blizz puts in preventing people from having fun. Do these clowns don't even play their own game? A bad decision in a long line of bad decisions that have come to define modern Blizz crap division. Okay, well, I hope you like it when it's time to spin a wheel, because it's wheel spin time. And thank goodness, yes, Korthia, the main event for the past week of Chains of Domination before Season 2 starts and the raid and the Mythic Mega Dungeon arrive. The City of Secrets, the open exploration and grinding zone area. It's not a zone. How does it measure up? Well, to sum up, after a constant week of play, I'm unsure about it in the long term, I'm cautiously optimistic about it medium term, and in the short term, I've been having a great time. And I have heard the complaints and opinions of people who don't enjoy it. Let's be honest, Korthia is a sad wasteland of no content. Does Korthia actually do anything, or is it just running around looking for something to do? Sucks that we waited 8 months for an empty island. This has got to be the worst patch ever. Let's be clear, I can completely understand why you may feel that way about Korthia. If this is you, I am not saying that you are wrong. I may well be agreeing with you in a week or so. It's hard to tell. Right now, though, I'm having a good time with it, and I think the best way to explain why is just to describe my experience to you. So, like most people, on day one, once I was all set up in Korthia after the opening scenario, I hunted down the relic guy and I put him in his little cave. I did the Ardenweald assault, which I absolutely am counting as Korthia content, and it was fine. I took the 3 blue dailies and I completed them very quickly because, you know, they're not very involved and Korthia is pretty small. And I was like, I guess I'm done. And I was okay with that. It had taken me hours to get to that point after all. But the next day, when all I had to do was 3 blue dailies, I was starting to get a bit worried. Like, is this really 20 minutes of questing per day? I thought. But of course, those quests are only to get you out into Korthia, because once you're there, stuff tends to happen. And I want to make it very clear, I had read 0 guides about Korthia before 9.1 started, purposely, because on the PTR, I had things like pop up and they were a real surprise, and I wanted to keep that as much as I could for the live game. So I'd go out and I'd pick up treasures that sometimes my little treasure hunting Grommet dog found, but honestly, Grommet is a pretty lazy Grommet and doesn't usually find anything. And I'd kill elites if they are up. Every now and then, I'd pick up an item which starts a new quest, and once I'd done that, I'd hand in the item to the artifact guy, and suddenly, I've got enough research to buy the thing that makes baddies glow purple if they're carrying artifact fragments. So I'm like, awesome, this will make it much easier to get artifact fragments. I'm calling everything the wrong name here because that's what I always do for the first couple of weeks, but it doesn't matter. So I go out again just to test them, and this time, as well as finding some more one-time research items, I click on a teleporter that's glowing, and suddenly I'm in a vault fighting an elite for another quest. So by this point, when I'm out in Korthia, I am specifically hunting for these artifacts, and while I'm looking, I come across a rift portal, and I'm like, oh cool, I looted that rift portal key earlier, let's give it a go. So I go in and I stumble around for a bit and I find another relic quest, and that makes me think, it looks like there are unique relics and treasures in this rift place. So the next time I loot a rift key and I go in, I check out the main points of importance on the map, and sure enough, I pick up another 3 relics, and by now I'm just running around trying to find anything I've missed, or failing that, hoping to run across some treasures or rares or glowing artifact carrying purple boys to get enough rep with Artifact Dude to get me to the next rank and more things that I can buy from him to help me find, I guess, more stuff. And as I'm running around, I'm like, actually, I'm really glad Korthia is this compact size, to be honest. And basically, I had an absolute blast. Of course, there are the odd frustrations. Blizz recently rushed out the 2 most predictable hotfixes in the history of the game, greatly increasing the amount of time a treasure stays active for after someone loots it for the first time, and allowing those treasures to be looted while in combat. The biggest meme of the patch so far up until this point being you stuck in combat while the chest you've uncovered gets looted by some breezy dickhead, and you have to watch it despawn seconds later as you're fighting, or halfway through jumping up the stupid branches of a stupid tree. So that's changed, and a huge buff to the spawn rate of the drab grommets in the Gold's No Object quest. Which, funny though it was to see everyone in the entire zone running circles around a very small quest area trying to grab very sparsely spawning grommets once, it probably would have stopped being funny quite quickly. So yeah, smart change. Now, if we could also get a fix so that my own useless lazy treasure grommet stops going crazy for chests that I have already opened, that would be great. The only time I ever see him excited is when he's found a chest that I've already opened. My grommet is an idiot. Now, to be fair, that wonder of discovery that I've described has slowed down a bit since those first couple of days, and it has settled down into a much more predictable routine of doing dailies and assaults, because they're on a 3.5-day timer, which means you get 2 a week. And the Venthyr version is brilliant. There's explosions and the fastest bombing quest you've ever done in WoW. There's running around as Tubbins giving people tea in the midst of battle. It's awesome. And finding treasures and artifact fragments, working towards the next rank of rep with Artifact Dude. I'm pretty glad that I didn't read any guides before, but I have glanced at a couple since, just to make sure that I'm doing everything right. And as you'd imagine, Wowhead has just the kind of in-depth, user-friendly summary that you are looking for if you're looking for an in-depth and user-friendly summary. And there is a link to that and a few other articles that we think are useful in the description below. Of course, what happens when I have found everything in Corthia. When my rep is maxed, when all of the relics have been found. Probably not much for me, to be honest. There are some transmogs and mounts and things to save Stygia for to buy from the Death's Advance vendor. There's the mounts that drop from one source or another in Korthia. Those kind of collecty grinds aren't really my thing, but I know they are for a lot of people, and that's okay. I'm okay with being done with Korthia if I've had a good time up until that point, and so far, I have. My main reason for playing is to do dungeons and raids with my buddies, and in between that, I like to have a reason to log in and run around and press buttons, and Korthia is giving me that. At night, when I have my headphones on and that music is just enveloping me and I'm just running around for whatever I might find, has been some really good WoW times for me this week. Like I say, I reserve the right to change my mind, and I don't actually disagree with any of the criticisms of people who hate it. You know what I do disagree with, though? Leaving a wheel sitting there all by itself without spinning it. So you know what? It is time to spin the wheel. Oh no. Okay, so there's a new store mount. It costs 19 UK pounds or your regional equivalent, so like 25 US dollars, 1,000 Australian dollars. As usual, as well as it being on the store, you get it free with a 6-month sub. So I got 2 of the bad boys because I keep subscriptions on EU and NA. And you know how I feel about store mounts because I've said it 100 times before. But with everyone crushing on Final Fantasy XIV right now, which has a shopfront that would make Kotick blush, then surely we aren't going to care about the Saphire Skyblazer. So are we all okay with this? No? No, it was a shit show, obviously. Oh, come on, Blizzard! Disgusting! This is where the money we are paying every month is going, towards more cash shop mounts. Reskins for 9.1, brand new, unique for the store. WoW really is an F2P game. Now, you know how I feel about the store. But I'm not here to tell you what to think. I agree with store haters on more than I don't. Fight the good fight, guys. It does go without saying, though, that if you go around spitting on people for it, then I'm likely to think that you're just co-opting valid concerns about neoliberal corporate culture and its commodification of our art and entertainment to the detriment of us and the things we love for the enrichment of an uncaring shareholder class, just so you can be a dick to people in a video game and feel like you're crusading about something without ever having to think about it too hard. But now I'm thinking about it too hard, and that wheel isn't going to spin itself. No, seriously, fish this, absolutely not. I didn't think it was possible, but yes, they made it worse. This patch is literal garbage. This patch is literal garbage. What am I supposed to do? What does it want from me? Why is it so trash? And that's a sentiment that I can understand, because I have no idea why I get the scores that I get in the new Torghast. I don't know why it can't just tell me what it wants me to do rather than just let me do it and then only afterwards tell me that it's very disappointed in me without ever giving me a reason why. If I wanted that, I'd Skype with my parents, okay? This is meant to be a relaxing hobby. There's actually lots that I like about the new Torghast, though. I like that it has 5 floors. That seriously feels so much better. I love that I don't have to loot dead baddies anymore because of the Tower Knowledge talent tree, and I quite like the Tower Knowledge talent tree too. I'm not massively inspired to run more Torghast, and I have to just to maximize my Tower Knowledge progress, but it does definitely add something more. Honestly, I've thought about this, and I genuinely think the best thing Blizz could do to make people enjoy Torghast, this is a serious suggestion, increase everyone's run speed by 150% the second they walk in the door. This is my genuine, considered feedback. 150% run speed increase, no questions asked. Call it the jailer's step or something, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, as we predicted in the first week it hit the alpha, the problem with Torghast is that very important power progression is attached to it, so there's always going to be a lot of people running it who don't really want to. Speed increases are fun. I know it's dumb, but it would work. Anyway, I think new Torghast has some potential, and I'm looking forward to playing with it more, especially when I get to open up the Adamant Vaults later. Oh, hi, Adamant. And with that, we have run out of wheel. I repeat, there is no more wheel. So where are we at the end of week 1? Generally, not bad, I think, especially for a week which is kind of in limbo in a way. The big stuff comes this week, as in, like, in a few hours. I don't have a watch, it's just for comedy. But next time we speak, we will have Tazavesh, the Veiled Market. We will have the new Mythic Plus affix and rating system. We'll have flying. We'll have the raid on normal and heroic, and we will have seen the fate of Sylvanas. Maybe even we'll have some clues about the setting of 9.2. It's going to be a big one. Who knows? Maybe we'll even get another appearance from the Wheel of Shit. I mean news, the Wheel of News. If there's a lot of news. Chains of Domination first impressions, go.
Cool, nice, fun. Good?
Alright, listen, we're doing a mood board for
Yeah.
9.1.
Cool, nice, fun, good.
Yellow.
Go. Yeah.
Very, very yellow. Very, very dirty yellow. That's
Honestly, okay, I was playing through it today, and I really, really like it.
Awesome.
I really like...
You sound surprised.
Well, to be honest, the prospect of just having like a small area added, it didn't get me super excited. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't like, whoa, more maw. But, one, I like being in the maw.
Cool.
Because I can mount up and just get my stuff done.
Doesn't it make the more so much better?
Yes.
Like, no lie, I've been
instantly
saying this to people for so long.
makes
Like,
it so much
honestly,
easier.
the second you can mount in the moor, like, the world is
It
different.
makes all the difference.
Because it feels like an
all the
actual
difference.
zone.
Yeah.
You're like, oh wow, I recognize this.
Yeah.
This is like playing a game.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying Korthia in a way I didn't think I was going to. Again, like, I feel like the story's a little bit deeper than I thought it was going to. All the archivist stuff I think is really cool. And unexpectedly, although I should expect it actually, the music is like a total banger.
Like,
it's like beautiful.
It's old school.
Makari, old school, exactly.
Dare I say it, it's almost like TBC style,
Yes.
kind of just very open, sort of mysterious,
slightly
otherworldly.
melancholy,
Yeah.
tinkly. Like, it's the music I want to hear when I'm doing world quests and grinding and just like
is.
waiting for things to pop up.
But also, my week has been quite eventful because obviously I swapped Covenant to Kyrian. And I've been kind of bopping that a little bit, really. Just trying to get... I've got enough anima now to get my transport network up to level 3, but I don't have the souls. I have maxed out my Covenant campaign. I finished that.
Okay.
And so I'm just, like, doing anything to get renown now. So I'm on, like, renown 32, something like that.
That's good.
So I will be
That's fast.
on renown 42 in time for next
There you
week.
go.
Thursday, actually, is when we start
We
in
do.
Sanctum of Domination. Who's the first boss in Sanctum of Domination?
The Terragru.
Oh my god, you've done it! You've done the research! You've done the work!
I've literally gone onto what's it called, the website that tells you, that breaks it all down.
Wow.
Everything that they
That's
link in the
amazing.
Discord. It's really good.
I've got to admit, if you'd asked me that question, I would not have been so quick with the answer.
To be fair, I don't know what the second boss is.
Look,
I
I've-
literally stopped at the Terragru.
I've worked
it's the first
very
boss,
hard.
but I know my tactics.
Ye of little faith.
I know. No. It's more of a timing issue.
This week, of course, we've got the raid, we've got Tazavesh, the Mythic Mega Dungeon,
yeah.
all sorts going
So
on.
soon.
And, of course, the ending raid cinematic.
Well, that's coming, isn't it?
So, yes or no answer. And bear in mind, over 50% of people watching this will have seen the end cinematic already by the time they watch it, because this is
Fair.
going to coming out on a Monday. So, will Sylvanas die, yes or no?
No.
I'm saying yes.
Ooh.
I think she'll die, and I think she'll get judged, and then she'll go somewhere in the Shadowlands, and then she'll come back and help
Okay,
us.
actually, I take my answer.
Oh, too late!
No,
Too late! No.
Because when you say die,
Yeah.
like, she's not going to die and disappear.
Oh no, that's
She's
not what I
going
said.
to die, and then her story will continue in the Shadowlands.
Yeah. Well, you said she wasn't going to die, so.
Okay, well.
So
I
here's the
take it
thing,
back.
right? Because at the moment, like, she is essentially the same as any Forsaken character
Right.
in Shadowlands. She's like a mortal soul, but she is like she's undead, right? So she should be on Azeroth. She shouldn't be in Shadowlands.
true.
So she's visiting the Shadowlands in the same way that we are. Like, so she's exactly the same as any Forsaken player character in the Shadowlands right now. If Lillian Voss came into the Shadowlands just to help out, that's what Sylvanas is, right?
Right, okay.
Whereas if we kill her and she gets judged and she goes to a Covenant, she becomes like what Draka is, or she becomes like what Uther is, or she becomes like what Ysera is, a denizen of the Shadowlands, which she isn't at the moment, and
No,
it's very like
she is a
important to
visitor.
remember that. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So yeah, I think Sylvanas will die. I think we'll probably kill her, or like the jailer will kill her and just not care as he makes his escape or whatever, or like just will choose not to save her. And I think she'll become a denizen of the Shadowlands, and maybe we'll enlist her help a little bit later on. Well, you guys will already know who's right.
will,
I guess we'll find out who's right, and of course there'll be a cinematic analysis video about that. I dare
Another
say, as
one?
well.
My goodness
Tara and Gregory
gracious.
keeping us busy on this channel, but that's for this coming for a couple of hours
Yeah.
from now. But thank you for joining us for this episode.
Hey.
If you liked it, don't thank us, thank our patrons who give their actual real life money to make all of our videos happen, all our work happen, all of our joy happen.
Literally everything.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
God, they're amazing.
Wow.
So good. Thank you.
you.
Thank you. If you didn't like it, downvote the shit out of it. Remember, my name is Megan James.
She's so good.
She's so good, isn't she?
Such a good artist.
She's so good. No, my name is Taliesin from me
And me, Evitel.
and an Iron 2. Until next time, cheerio.